Hey everyone, and welcome to my YouTube art channel. So I have a lot of great plans for the next oil painting. I have a lot of ideas for really big, well not really big, but medium-sized oil paintings. And so I thought that before I ever start them, I would like to practice more with oil painting. So here I have just a really small square size canvas. It's just a simple portrait of a girl with some flowers, all those things. So here are all the colors that I will be using for the palette, for my palette. Here, these will be the skin tone, though wait, let me show. So I bought this Winsor & Newton Flesh tint. I've always been avoiding this because I feel like you should try to experiment more and mix your own skin tone instead of just buy this. But I was like, you know what, I want to give it a try and see if this actually looks good for skin tone. So I think I'm going to tell you all of the colors. Also, I use Winsor & Newton and Van Gogh paint brand. So for this, I use Permanent Alizarin Crimson, Cadmium Red, Burnt Umber, Burnt Sienna, and this is Yellow Ochre, and this is, let me see, this is Azo Yellow Deep, and this is, what's called Viridian, Olive Green, and the Flush Tint. And for this two, it is Dioxazine Purple Violet and Cobalt Violet Hue. Sorry for this one, I don't know how to pronounce it. So we finally begin with the painting. I mix the flesh tint with a lot of titanium white and a little bit of burnt sienna and burnt umber, and I also mix in with a lot of linseed oil to just quickly wash over the whole canvas. So here I also just choose one color for the flower. I just want to quickly block in the colors. So I saw this tutorial on YouTube about how to paint the flowers peonies, and I really love those flowers, but it's one of the hardest flowers to paint because it has a lot of petals and layers. So for this, I really want to practice on that. So at this part, I also outlined her face shape with a darker tone for the skin tone, and then I'm also adding some bits of a warmer tone and adding blush for her. So for this part, it is kind of dry. I do not mix with a lot of linseed oil. And now for this part, I am just blending in all of the colors on her face with a dry brush and a bit of the wet tissue as well. And here I also added some cool tones to balance out the colors for her skin. So remember that the skin is not always warm. No matter how the environment is, it is always better to balance between cold or cool tones with warm tones, because if not, then everything would either look way too warm or saturated, or way too cold and desaturated. So here I am also blocking in with some of the plants and leaf around her, so I don't have any specific concept for this. Also, if you did watch my older videos on YouTube, I actually painted this painting very similar to this one, but as a digital painting. I wanted to practice kind of like a daily sketch, like a daily small sketch on Photoshop using my Cintiq. So yeah, I thought that I want to use that painting for this oil painting for practice. So now it is day 2, and I am beginning to add some highlights for her hair and adding some more warm tones, warm and darker tones for her, like her lips and then her nose, and adding some more details and so on. So I actually really want to be able to paint with the Alla Prima. Is it called? Yes. Yeah, is it called Alla Prima technique? So if you don't know what alla prima technique is, like that technique of oil painting where you literally finish a whole oil painting within a day. In other mean, even within one sitting. So it's all a technique of wet on wet. Everything is wet, but you do it very carefully, block in all the colors and blend it all together in one sitting or in just a day. So you can actually finish a piece of an oil painting within just a day. But that technique is very difficult and it takes a lot of time and practice. Well, not a lot of time. I mean, it depends how much you practice on it to that was so awkward, that moment where suddenly like my nose and my mouth just peeked on the camera. So yeah, and it's not easy with the alla prima technique. It's difficult. You need to practice a lot of that. It's like, I think with the alla prima technique, you just have to really go with your feelings. You have to know how much of, linseed oil or how wet that you're supposed to mix in with the paint and with the oil, and where exactly to put some of these blocks of colors so that you can just immediately blend the colors without erasing anything, while still having all the necessary colors in the canvas. So yeah, it is difficult, but I really want to try that. Also, I think this is day 3 already? I think this is already day 3, and I wanted to paint more of the peonies flower. I don't really know how to pronounce or exactly how to say it, but yeah. So basically, the tutorial that I saw on YouTube is that you have to mix in with both the whatever color of the peonies flower and a really bright tone, and not to mix it all together. So like you have to keep these 2 tones on your brush, so when you paint it, you still have like the shadows and the highlights, and you can immediately put in the layers like that. So but at this point I feel like it's pretty okay, I suppose, for a first try. But you may notice that the flower on the left one is such a fail, and I need to fix that tomorrow or sometime later. But yeah, I think it's okay. But I mean, I would usually expect myself to do a lot better, but hey, the point is that at least you try, that you are putting your time to practice, and that you are experimenting with more new things. So yeah, that's totally fine. If you ever make mistakes, we all make mistakes. I mean, even if you are a professional, you will still have a lot of things to learn. And I personally do not think there's such a thing of a perfect, like this perfect, totally perfect piece of art. I think that there will always be a part or area to improve, but you have to be productive. And by being productive, it doesn't always mean that you have to make everything perfect, because if you try to make everything perfect, you're just not going to finish anything. So there will be a point where you just have to know where to stop and to call it a finish. So anyway, I am also adding some highlights for the leaf. It's one of the parts that I really enjoy. As you can see, I added some more details. I did fix the flowers. I also added some more details for the plants, and also adding some more colors, and also a bit on her hair. Though I must say that, as you can notice, out of all the flowers, this one right here is kind of a fail. I'm happy with this, and yeah, thank you so much everyone for watching. I really hope that you enjoy.